We're heading to Ferrari because it's collection day of my brand new Ferrari Roma Spider, and I cannot wait to pull those covers back. Now, if you haven't noticed, in recent times, I've become just a teeny bit obsessed with the cars from Maranello. Over 2 years ago, I took delivery of the SF90 Stradale in blue electrico, my first brand new prancing horse built to my own specification. Almost exactly 12 months ago, followed up by the 296 GTS in Rosso Dino, perfectly timed for the summer weather with the roof down. Then at the end of the year, we took delivery of the Purosangue in blue Le Mans. There's a bit of a theme going on here when it comes to blue cars, although most recently, the latest edition was the baby Ferrari, my 500 Abarth Ferrari dealer edition in Rosso Corsa, the iconic Ferrari red. They were used 15 years ago as the courtesy cars at Ferrari dealers if you drop your car off for service. But there's been this blue theme, and a couple of months ago, I was at Ferrari of Austin in Texas to show you through the specification of the inbound Roma Spider, and we're going to see just how stunning it looks very shortly. It's coming from HR Owen Ferrari, from whom I've bought all of these cars, and also have my future SF90 XX Stradale, Dodici Cilindri, and maybe some more we'll get to a little bit later on. But today, it's all about the Roma. I've been lucky to drive them on a number of occasions before, but I can't wait to have my own, to bring it back here later on. So let's do this. Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Let's go and pick up the newest Shmeemobile. I guess I should probably explain the elephant in the room. Why am I wearing my OG Shmee 150 race suit? And it's for good reason. I would like to introduce you to the Shmooth operator. Welcome to racing driver Shmoo the cow, our new limited edition, only 250 available. These will go fast. Pause the video, head to the Shmee 150 eBay shop, grab one of these right now. 250 of our mascot now ready to go and race. Whether he's Lewis Hamilton or Lando Schmooris, you can choose. But for us, he is of course the mascot, given that this used to be a milking parlor. This used to be filled with cattle before horsepower. As a limited edition set, we're also including the air freshener, the sticker sheet, and of course a signed and numbered card. Every single one will be numbered out of the 250 of our new version of Shmoo the cow. The link is of course down below to the Shmee 150 eBay shop. I hope you like him as much as we do. I think he's absolutely dashing. What a guy. Go check him out. But you know what? We need to figure out what's happening next. As much as I would have loved to have kept the race suit on for the whole day, it is summer and it's just a little bit warm, so probably better without. But like the SF90 and the 296 and all of the other Shmeemobiles, the Roma Spider has actually already been to Topaz detailing. It's already had paint protection film installed, so it's ready to go. Straight out of the showroom, go and drive. Of course, installing the film means it's protected from stone chips, from light damaging, it's easier to wash, it will look incredible, and I'll know that this very special paint color is protected going forwards. And the beauty of actually Topaz's new location in Hatfield is that it's right on site with the likes of Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bentley, Rolls-Royce, you name it. A big part of all of this coming together, and one of the reasons why we're heading to HR Owen Ferrari in Hatfield, the sister dealership of HR Owen Mayfair, where I order all of the cars from, because it's the perfect place to go and pick it up, go for a nice drive. As you can tell, I'm speaking incredibly quickly because I'm actually very excited about the Roma Spider. You know, when I ordered the SF90 Stradale, there was a big sense of waiting, that whole preparation, excitement, overload, first ever new Ferrari. In fact, the same with the 296, with the Purosangue, with many of the cars. In a way though, I've been so focused on the XX coming soon that I haven't really been thinking that much about the Roma, and it's kind of just hit me. This is a brand new Ferrari. This is a very, very exciting day. By far the most suitable car for today is to take the Purosangue, but we couldn't go without bringing the Shmooth operator with us, of course, for a ride in this thing. We're going to have a V12 cold start, and I tell you what, for this kind of run, there's probably no better car to take than this, especially back to where I collected it just over half a year ago. So step one around here, just unplug the CTEC Smart Charger, which of course keeps the battery in operation up and running, because I think we need to take it. We need to go for a little run, go take this car over. It's a lovely thing. It's going to be joined by another lovely one right alongside it. While the OG Smooth operator might be moving on from Ferrari, Shmooth is literally on his way to Ferrari here. That is where we're headed. And I tell you what, when you're driving in the Puro, and I've spoken about this a lot when we did our big road trip with it, this car has nearly 4,500 miles already. It is a lovely, lovely thing to cruise in. When you're just driving like this, you almost forget that you're in a Ferrari. It's calm, it's gentle, it's lovely. But when you look at the Shmeemobiles, right, we've got the hybrid V8 mid-engined 1000 horsepower coupe. We've got the hybrid V6 mid-engine convertible. We've got the V12 four-door, four-seater. And now we're going to have a two-seat V8 front-engine convertible. They all do quite different things, which is really quite cool. Anyway, I am utterly excited for today. We're going to have a really good time and get on our way to HR Owen Ferrari. My bad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Maybe. It wouldn't be a run here without dipping into a tunnel, right? And that means dropping down through the gears, lowering the windows slightly, and we are arriving then. So Topaz is just literally around the corner, and this is all HR Owen, where you have everything, including a nice Bentley coming towards us. And obviously, just here, HR Owen Ferrari Hatfield, where we're going to drive past and pretty awesome lineup of cars and go around. I think mine should be waiting in the handover bay. We'll go find out in just a second. That 612 has a mega plate on it, and that Pista is really nice. That is a lovely, lovely spec. Silver wheels, silver stripes. This is like dangerous car shopping, going past all the stuff that's lined up just here. But I think that's it. In the bay right there, just come past the window, is my new car. You know what? This is still just as exciting as the first time. This is still totally crazy. Let's go park this and then let's go in and take a look. I tell you what, we got lucky today with the weather. The sunshine out is always a good thing, but we're back. We're back here again. I really quite like that, you know, that color. That must be Rosso Rubino or Mugello, one of those darker reds. But come on in here at HR Owen Ferrari Hatfield, because inside the showroom today does not disappoint. I mean, take a look. 488 Pista. The next car, the SF90 there, is actually in Rosso Scuderia, slightly lighter red, a little bit more orange, but not quite as orange as Rosso Dino on my 296. The blue Abu Dhabi F8 Spider, but come the other way, down towards the handover room, because this is what we're here for today, right? To head over to this side, past the Rosso Imola 296 GTS, a very nice 599. I tell you what, more and more interest in these things the more time that goes by. Then we have Blue Electrico SF90 Spider. This is with the Assetto Fiorano, but the same color as my SF90, and a really nice Purosangue as well. But what we're here for is the car that's lurking over this way. Come on in. Back in here, a very familiar room. In fact, when I first announced that one of these was going to be joining the Shmeemobiles, it was from right here. It was at the time this showroom was opening. Carlos Sainz actually came for the opening night of the HR Owen Ferrari Hatfield showroom. And in a moment, we're gonna get this cover pulled back. And I tell you what, before we do that, let's have a little tease. I always love this moment, when you first get to take a sneak peek at the new car under these red covers. Oh, look at that color. Blue Corsa on the Roma Spider. But wait until you see the full specification and what we've gone for with this. It's time then. Let's pull off this cover. Let's reveal the newest addition to the collection, my brand new Ferrari Roma Spider in blue Corsa. This thing is so elegant. The color suits it perfectly. The Roma is such a smart car to begin with. And I went to the launch of the 488 Spider a decade or so ago in London, and it was presented in this color, and I've always had a soft spot for it. I think it looks amazing. I've seen a few other cars around the world in the matching shade as well. But because it's such an elegant car, I've tried to go with a very elegant specification. We'll go into it in more detail later, but we've got the silver wheels, we've got the Aluminio calipers, the silver calipers, of course we've got the Scuderia shields. Come beyond, we've got the navy blue roof, the dual tone blue theme, and there's a lot more of that going on inside. It's a very, very pretty looking car. The silver exhaust tips, I'm just coming over to grab the keys because I actually want to pop the roof down to show that to you in a little bit more detail. So unlock it. I'm going to show you inside in just a moment, but firstly, let me switch this on so I can pop open this roof and show you what it looks like inside, because it is a very, very nice looking thing. So the roof panel will fold open, lift up from the back, rear deck lid opens, tuck this all the way under, and then look at this. The interior color, dual tone, it's Carta da Zacchero, is the main blue that you see with the Nero details. She will pop the windows down here rather than letting them go up. And then we've got the Grigio Chiaro details and accents on the inside. So the wraparound of the driver and passenger zone. And then on the seats as well, we've got the stitching and also the Cavallino Rampante, the headrest embroidery. This is such a pretty looking car. I'm already absolutely over the moon with it. I mean, look at it. Look at that. And I can't wait to get it out shortly into the sunshine. Let me walk you around this then. Firstly, the number plate. Let's come to that. SH70 MEE. And yes, I know you could argue, take it away. Why would you have a plate? It is a legal requirement here in the United Kingdom. Clutching at straws as to why I've gone with a 70 here. But basically, this Roma is my 7th Ferrari. So I like the little 7 nod and went with that in this particular instance. You'll notice I haven't opted for all of the exterior visual carbon fiber. Of course, you could have all of the lower sections, but it's a bit more of an elegant car, a more elegant specification, and I didn't want to overload it. Save some of that for some of the other cars that are arriving down the line as well. So we've got the silver wheels, as I mentioned, 5 twin spoke design. I think is one of the best looking wheel. Carbon ceramic brakes as standard with the silver calipers. And again, I opted for the yellow center caps to match with the Scuderia shields. And while the Roma was originally launched with no shields at all, I just feel like for a Ferrari, you need to have them. You need to have that little detail. And interestingly, it's not just something that's stuck on the side. It's actually a different wing panel because of the way it slightly embeds into the bodywork. So depending on the option, obviously you get different parts. Come round towards the back. This is something that a lot of people don't realize. It's actually, I think, a free option to have the navy blue finish on the top here. You have a few different options, including with the stitching, but otherwise that would just be left standard or matching the leather of the interior. And I think it's really cool to have it matching the roof, even when the roof is closed down at the back. Come back here, as I mentioned, we've got the sports tailpipes, the upgrade for those. You always have the gloss black here for the spoiler. This is the active spoiler. There's no button to press it to lift it up. It's not a show-off spoiler. It's basically down and goes up, obviously, when you're driving a little bit quicker. In the back of the car, we just pop open the boot here. As with all modern Ferraris, you have your personalization specifications. So my chassis number, 310-440, and then all of the options that I've gone for on this car. So you can see the Carta da Zucchero, which is the interior color, obviously blue Corsa, all the different stitching, Grigio Chiaro, and the upgraded hi-fi sound system, ventilated full electric seats. We've got the, well, we'll get more to the interior in just a second, but basically a very nice spec without going completely overboard with it. I didn't want to go totally crazy. So inside here, obviously the dual tone split is what this is all about. I think it looks lovely. The way this wraps around the occupants, you're cocooned within that blue interior finish. The go-to with Ferraris is to order the blue sterling, the darker interior, like I have on the SF90 for the contrast. But then again, silver details, obviously this light silver stitch, Grigio Chiaro, for these leather inserts, and the stitching adds to that exterior feel of it as well. And then if I step in, the very first time I've actually sat in this car, we've got a protection film to peel off the curved display in front of us, the carbon fiber driver zone, so the LED shift lights up top, and the extended carbon paddles around the sides. Oh, this is a very pretty thing. Passenger display. In fact, let's just power it up, wake it up for a moment. Of course, no engine on right at this second. Unlike some of the other cars, we do have the central screen right here with the AC controls and things there, so a bit to learn around that. But there's a lot when it comes to speccing this interior. One of the details, if I can just reach over to show you, is going for the navy blue seat belts. I actually really like that belt buckle. Fits right in with the interior color of this car, and what I've done here, matching towards the back as well, and the same with the headrest front and rear. Oh, this is cool. This is really nice. I guess we're gonna get this started. Maybe I should just do that now. Fire it up. Let's take a listen to the V8. Well, look at that, side by side, the car we've come in, and we'll be taking both home very shortly. Two really quite different Ferraris. And I tell you what, it might be a bit of deja vu being back here collecting a new car, but it never ceases to lose the spark of excitement. And look at this outside in natural light. I'm really pleased with how this interior has turned out. It's a bit like doing the 296 GTS. We didn't really know what we were in store for, but the end result is super nice. And obviously such different takes on blue Ferraris, both very smart with the silver wheels, but the blue and black interior here, and the Coyo and navy blue sterling in the Puro, and of course very different as well from the other two back at home, but both equipped with their Shmee plates, ready to hit the road very shortly. Get back towards the Shmuseum. We moved to this side, but with the sunshine out, I love this color. I can't wait to get that to somewhere that's a little bit sunnier than we normally have it, although I can't complain today. We've got pretty decent amount of blue sky going on for the blue cars that we're just shooting. Even though it feels like some grey clouds are coming, we are of course going to drive home roof down, get this started. We'll need to talk about the software and beeps in a moment, but before we do, here is a switch for the wind deflector. When I pull that, what happens behind us is that whole panel folds up to reduce the wind in the cabin. Put both windows up. In fact, we've got the rear quarter windows as well, so like a second pull and it pops those up behind me. All good and dandy and ready to drive my 48-mile-old Ferrari Roma Spider back to the Shmuseum. Here we go. It's actually the first time I've driven a right-hand drive Roma, which is kind of cool. We're on the way. We're on the move. So this is all very familiar to me. The display, the same as in the other 3 Ferraris, in fact, and the controls on the steering wheel. But this is my first car that's been delivered post June 2025, which is when the new rules came in that effectively mean once you drive to the speed limit, the car has to beep away at you. And I know it's going to be maddening. I have driven with it before, and it takes a ton of button presses in this to turn it off and stop it being annoying. We're probably going to hear it for the first time. Obviously, speedometers legally have to slightly overread. So when we get to 30 or 31, the 30 limit, it will, wait for it. It's blinking at me, but it hasn't made an annoying beep. Yeah, maybe it needs to go slightly faster. We shall learn that as we go. But what you can do is configure a custom button on the steering wheel to stop it being quite as invasive. Now, one thing I'm going to talk about, which I always talk about with a new car, is that I'm sorry that I'm quite boring and I like to follow the book, and they ask for 1,000 miles, so about 1,000 kilometers, about 600 miles of running in before you go mad with the car. And I always think a little bit about the future, the longevity, making sure it's working properly. So I like to follow the book and I like to do it properly. It won't take long to get the miles. And if you know the Shmeemobiles, it will be driven properly. It will have a lot of fun ahead of it. And for now, we're going to cruise. We've got our Shmooth operator joining us in the car, ready for the first drive. I tell you what though, the 3.9 litre V8 in here, 620 odd horsepower, sounds pretty good. At the cold start earlier, I was really impressed by it. Obviously we've got the dual clutch gearbox kind of automatically doing its stuff in the background, but I like how calm it is in the cabin of this compared to the, well, Daytona SP3 or the 812 GTS. Ferrari got it really right with this, about keeping it very, very, very nice to drive with the roof down. One thing that is slightly confusing is that on the lower left of the dashboard in the hybrids, you get your battery status. Of course, this does not have that. This has no battery. This is purely ICE, internal combustion engine. No hybrid power at all. Long live it. Although I do think that it might actually not do the beeping thing. Maybe it was built just before the cutoff and doesn't do it. It's hard to test because I don't want to absolutely floor it. Firstly, new car. Secondly, there's this pesky thing called the speed limit. You know, you can't just drive around like a buffoon everywhere you go. But maybe this car is okay and this car doesn't do it. We'll find out a little bit later on. Tunnel ahead. I am going to turn it up. I'm going to put it into race and drop some gears. We're not going to go crazy because the new car. Oh, this sounds nice. That sounds epic. That sounded really good. Now that this is here at the Shmuseum, I have to say that this colour is very close to what we would have called Shmee blue. It's very close to the famous cerulean blue. Look over at the workshop and the wall that we have there that's backlit, and even look at the grandstand and the painted walls here. It's a very, very, very similar colour when you've got blue Corsa, a colour that you normally know from the 488s. One other thing that I've been just thinking about while we've been taking some pictures with the car, and I'm not sure if you've spotted this, is the interior of it, depending how the photo is taken, looks completely different, especially this color. It's very strange. Cameras see it I'm going to say a little bit more washed out than it actually is. The reality is that this is a really, really nice interior. I'm very, very pleased with what we've managed to do. But even looking at my own pictures, I'm kind of like, that's not what it looks like in person, but cameras often do that. Colors and the way your eyes see things. Obviously, this section of the roof panel, I'm really pleased with. What I haven't shown you is what we have in the boot. Being a new Ferrari, of course, it is supplied with a series of things. Interestingly, I've got the keys in my pocket, but I hoped it was going to auto unlock. It didn't do that. There we go. Inside here, to pop this up, obviously at the moment the roof is folded down, so it takes this upper part of the luggage space, which is why you can't move this. If the roof was on the car, you could lift that up, but underneath it we have firstly the CTEC charger, which of course we're going to be setting up. We have some protective films that have still been kept in there. I like keeping all that kind of stuff. And then as always we have a car cover, which comes normally with things like a steering wheel cover and seat covers and that kind of stuff, so that will all obviously go on a shelf in the storage room at some point very shortly. Another thing that's really odd is the rear number plate isn't straight on the car. It's got this bracket underneath it. And I was trying to guess why that is. And I think there are basically two reasons potentially for it. One is that when this is closed, if the plate was straight on the bodywork, probably to do with the angles, you couldn't see it, something like that. And maybe then it's too curved and it has to be straighter. I guess rules are rules. Who knows exactly why that is. But with it sat here, it is a very undeniably pretty looking car. On the topic of colours, this shade of blue and that shade of blue are very similar together to the colours we have on the Dura cabinets, the colours that we have for the barn itself, including the navy blue that we originally had for the walls behind, even the colours of Shmoo the cow and his new brother, Shmooth operator, as well. It's very much on theme. And I know what you're thinking, there's a lot of blue Ferraris going on right now. Rest assured that the future Ferraris are not all blue. The XX is not blue, the Dodici Cylindri is not going to be blue, and probably the one after that is not going to be blue. But for now, obviously, we've got the SF90, we've got the 296, we've got the Roma Spider, and we've got the Purosangue all together. And this is absolutely absurd and very much a pinch moment looking around at those cars. I'd love to do something with all four together, and maybe that's something we need to put on the radar for the plans. In fact, talking radar, obviously this is where I'm not going to pretend it's the prettiest looking thing in the world, but the ADAS system, the advanced driver assistance systems, I like having that stuff. It causes it to do all the beeping that we haven't actually had too much of, it has to be said, but kind of for general driving, it is beneficial to have it, so it's worth having, even if it's not the prettiest in the world. It kind of disappears a little bit. One of the beauties of having the black plastic for the bumpers is that you don't spot it as much as you would if you had the gloss carbon down there, when it then stands out a little bit more. Just these small things you spend ages thinking about when it comes to the specification. But this car, parked here, roof down, looks really nice, and driving, I have to say actually it feels quite a lot smaller driving on the road, certainly, than the Purosangue. I guess that's stating the obvious, given this is a much smaller car physically as a 2+. It's not a 2+2, because it would be quite the squeeze to get somebody back there. It is officially a 2+. Maybe it's a 2+2 Shmoo the cows. I am back to matching with this guy. What can I say? He is just too cool, and we are the Shmoo 150 racing team. Now do get one if you still can from the Shmoo 150 eBay shop, but if by this point in time they are all sold out, it might happen. It happened very quickly when we introduced the first version of our mascot. You will soon be able to purchase again the Shmuseum edition. They will be returning to regular stock in the not too distant future. But I always said that after we introduced, well, as we have here, Super Shmoo the cow, we'd have a few fun versions. We had the first edition, we have our second limited variant, of course, the Shmooth operator, and we have some fun ideas for what's coming next, maybe becoming a little bit of a collectible along the way. We do, of course, also in the eBay shop have lots of different air fresheners, sticker sheets, and plenty more things available as well, so lots to go and check out over there, but I hope you've been able to get your hands on one of these, because if I can say so myself, this is quite fun. Now, of course, we have seen the arrival here at the Shmuseum of the Roma Spider, and it's very easy if we kind of wind this back a bit to just say, oh, they told you you had to buy one, or oh, it's just the entry-level car. But the reality is, this thing is still a Ferrari. It is a very special car in its own right, and I can't quite believe that I've added this as well to the collection. If we wind back 4 or 5 years, when the Roma was originally introduced, I actually spec'd one up in full, and I was about to pull the trigger. It was when the entire world started going a little bit bonkers and crazy, and I decided obviously at that point that it wasn't necessarily the right idea for me, and I wasn't fortunate enough to have the space and the collection as we do now, so something would have had to depart. I didn't really know what that would be, but now the time has come where it works. It's part of the collection, it's part of my growing fleet of Ferraris, which is bonkers, to be honest. And you can bet that you're going to be seeing this on road trips. I've got something planned soon. We're going to be taking it at some point to the Nürburgring. Of course, like all of the Shmeemobiles, we need to go and drive a lap of the Nordschleife with it. And maybe we should do something fun with all of the Ferraris together. I think it would be really special to get them all out and do something that involves all four that are currently here before we see the arrival of the XX and the Dodici Cilindri, and who knows what else further down the line. I love this color. I think it looks incredible in person. The interior, we are super happy with. And yeah, just delighted with it overall. So big thanks to the team at HR Owen Ferrari, to the team at Topaz for getting it prepared, and of course, as always, to you guys. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you very much for all of your support. Yeah, if you're keen to grab a Shmooth operator, Shmoo the cow, make sure to head out and check out the shop right now. But I absolutely love this. I hope you guys like it as well. That's it for this time though. Thank you very much for joining me for Collection Day, and I will see you again very soon. Cheers.